Great. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto and break them down into bite-sized pieces. Today, just the thumbnail and the title suggest Facebook and their ill-forgotten project called Diem, well, actually used to be called Libra, is now officially dead. And there's been a sell-off, and we're going to talk about why they did that as opposed to doing some other type of endeavor, and also how they have partnered up with Coinbase and Block. We talked about this previously, but there's just a couple of nuances to go over. So we'll go over all that, but first we're going to take a look at the market and talk about what's going on as it's starting to dwindle, S&P 500 as well, as far as NASDAQ also. We're also going to take a look at an on-chain and DCA example, why I think that things are just going a little bit crazy, so it's just a little bit good advice just to kind of come back to the basics. Then we'll take a look at the Facebook issue, talk about how Solana now just was approved for its first ETP, not ETF, but pretty close enough. And then lastly, we'll take a look at taxes from around the world, a question that I had asked, which I didn't know that taxes were that bad globally. And then we'll get over the Q&A at the very end. So first, before we start, just to know, for this show, these live shows, we usually go over the news and what's going on. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes. So if that's all you're interested in, that's great. If you're watching the replay, there will be timestamps below so you can skip ahead to the favorite story that you want so you can save some time. But I highly recommend just to watch everything because there's a lot of things going on in this space. And then lastly, we'll go over the Q&A. That may take a lot longer, so that's why there's some elongated time frames. But usually news about 10 or 15 minutes. So let's just get into it, shall we? And just take a look at what is going on in the market itself. So right now we're taking a hit, and I'm not going to go over a ton of this stuff because we all know, we all watch our portfolios, and Bitcoin's sliding down, Ethereum's sliding down, Binance, everything's sliding down. Even Terra, 20% down after that hack in their ecosystem. Polygon, 5%, and so on and so forth. So what's going on? Why is it? Was something fundamentally changed? No, not really. Just that the S&P, when it opened up, S&P 500, took a little bit of a tumble as we come down here. But over 5 days, looking not too bad. 1 month, not too great. 6 month, a little bit worse. But yeah, today it's going down. And as that goes down, so does our market because we are correlated. Also, if we take a look at NASDAQ, it's even worse as most of those tech stocks take a drumming. So that's what we have as far as the markets itself. Now I just want to do some quick on-chain examples. And just looking at all the news that's going on, we're going to take a look at this on-chain example. I'm going to tell you, to me, it just makes more sense. And I'm going to give you an example of dollar cost averaging over time. There's a great website called DCABTC.com. I linked in the description. If not, it's just DCABTC.com. Now I'm going to get to this in a second, but on-chain analysis, I came across this from Into the Block, and they said, hey, just so you know, on January 29th, we spotted a significant outflow of Bitcoin from exchanges. Why is that so important? Well, it's important because the more that people or institutions or whoever is holding this Bitcoin, the more that they pull off the Bitcoin off the exchanges, theoretically, the better it is for us because they're pulling it off exchanges, putting it in cold storage, and not going to sell it. So when I take a look at this, I'm like, that's pretty good. And if we blow it up, we can see over here what they're talking about. This right here, I want you to notice something. In the upper left-hand corner, it says net flows. Net flows, that is the difference between the actual inflow of Bitcoin and outflow of Bitcoin. So that is a net. Is it a net positive or a net negative? Are they losing? Are they gaining? In this one on January 29th, aggregate exchanges, negative 63,000 Bitcoin. Well, that sounds great, right? Because now they're taking it off. However, if we come over here and take a look over at Crypto Quant, same type of thing. Bitcoin, exchange net flow, total. Again, net flow is the difference between the inflow that is coming in and the outflow. And if we take a look at the 29th, there's actually a little more positive as far as there's exchange net flow of total is there's 17,000 actually going in to these exchanges. So if you have here for negative exchange net flow, if there's more out than in, so it's the exact inversion. And even if it was, they might say, well, it is what it's. We're taking a look at the outflow. The numbers still don't add up. So if you take a look over here at, this is Into the Block, also a Crypto Quant. They may very well have correct numbers, but you have to understand there's a different caveats for what things are looking at. Well, are they talking about averages? Are they talking about means? Are they talking about the median? What are they talking about exactly? So if you look at on-chain analysis, I'm just here to tell you, when I look at it, there's a lot of different nuances that it can be, and it gets a little bit more confusing. So when people say, well, this looks good, that looks good, even me, when I look at this, I'm like, this looks pretty good. In all honesty, it didn't do a whole ton. I mean, we did a little bit of a positive turnaround for a crypto, but not like an enormous amount. So when I take a look at this, we try to get the right information. But for me, it's just like, why don't we just say forget it and just say, there's so many things going on. There's so many things going on. Why don't we just do a little DCA? So I'm going to show you an example. Again, DCA BTC. I'm going to put in here just a quick, let me blow this up so you can really see it. That's not even that good. 250. I want to put in $250 per month. And you can play around with this as you see fit. Repeat purchase every 2 weeks, weekly or daily. I just want to go monthly, and let's just put 250. And the reason I did this is because there was an article out that said that you'd be almost a millionaire if you put in like $500 into Bitcoin and Ethereum. What I want to do is, and I put here, accumulation doesn't matter right now. If you started a year ago, if you put in $250 per month, you would have invested $3,250, and the value would have been $3,926. That's not that great. Let's be honest. That sucks. That's not what we're here for. I'm not here for a whopping, it says 20% here. Okay. Yeah, 20%. 320, yeah. So that's pretty good as far as like S&P 500. I mean, even last year, the S&P 500 did better than that. But here's the thing I want you to really focus in on. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. I want to go back 2 years. If you would have put in $250 per month, you would have invested $6,000 and got $20,000. That's 225%. I wanted to go back 3 years. If you would have invested $9,000, you would have got almost $48,000 back. This is just on Bitcoin, $250 per month, 419% increase. I want to go back 4 years. 12,000 invested, 74,511. I want to go back 5. Actually, yeah, let's go back 5. This would be 2017. You would have put in $15,000 and you would have had 154,912% change. And this is a good one. 6 years ago, if you would have put in $250 per month in Bitcoin, that's 18,000 invested. Pretty good. I mean, I used to do that in 401ks every single year, it seemed like. I wasn't getting $473,000. I will tell you that right now. So again, time in the market is more important than timing. So all the things that we're talking about in all the news stories, which are good to know. It is good to know, let's be honest. And it's great to know on-chain analysis of what's going on because it keeps us aware of the situation. We can become more informed. But I'm telling you, well, no, I'm not telling you anything because on this show, it's just investment opinion, not investment advice. But the numbers don't lie. Dollar cost average, just be safe. Stick on to the ones that are the blue chip type of cryptos and you'll be okay. And if you don't know my saying, you can get into a bunch of other stuff, dash of salt, but it gets riskier. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Let's move on to some news and talk about the failure that is Facebook. Not that it's a failure. Facebook's doing pretty good, actually. So Mark Zuckerberg's ambitions for a Facebook crypto are officially over. A crypto bank snapped up its Diem, used to be called Libra, and now plans to issue a stablecoin. So when I talk about it's dead almost. And this is what's going on. So real quick, we had actually covered this a couple of days ago. And I found it interesting that Meta had joined the Open Patent Alliance. And those are people that are in there like Coinbase. It was a nonprofit founded by Block, which is formerly Square. 30 members, MicroStrategy, Kraken, Uniswap, Chaincode Labs, and OKCoin, and also Coinbase and all this stuff. So when I saw it, I'm like, why would Facebook and Meta get into that? It's because they sold their Diem or Libra, whatever it is, to a bank for almost $200 million. So here's what's going on. Diem, Facebook's once ambitious crypto venture, officially no longer exists. And the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because the thing we just talked about as far as investing in DCAing, and I said in the very beginning, it's all about getting into good projects. Again, not investment opinion, not investment advice, but I mean, or investment advice, investment opinion. But it makes sense. You have to get into good projects. Even as good as those projects are, and as much firepower and how much clout and money and resources that Facebook used to have, or still has even more, they still failed. So when you're looking at projects to get into, especially in crypto, make sure you pick the right one by doing your due diligence. And that is the big story. But I digress. Here's what's going on with this story. All right. The association behind Diem said Monday it is selling its assets and intellectual property to crypto bank Silvergate Capital. Who's Silvergate Capital? Well, apparently it is a bank, Silvergate Capital, Silvergate Bank, headquarters in San Diego, California, founded in 1988. We'll get into more of that in a second. So Diem, if you don't remember, because if you haven't been around for a while, Facebook tried to do his own cryptocurrency called Libra. And then, of course, the government said, we can't even trust you with our data. You want us to trust us with our cash? Are you out of your mind? And they shut them down quick. Grab some bench because you're not going to go anywhere. But Diem was meant to be just a stable coin alternative to fiat money, backed by a wide mixture of currencies and government debt. But the crypto venture, launched 2019, was stalled by regulatory pressures. And this is the thing, as big as Facebook is, they still couldn't get past the regulatory issues to really launch this thing and make it successful. So when we hear that there's different projects that are fighting with regulation, that's why I'm always saying how important it is to get regulation in. So not so that we can get regulated and oppressed, just give us some guidelines so that we can say, okay, this is the standard, whatever you think it is, government. We're going to try to meet that and we'll work our way around it and do the things that we do because we are innovators. That's all we need. And of course, as good as Facebook is, and like I said, they still couldn't regulate that or get past that. So first, it was abandoned by prominent backers, including Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal because of seemingly endless scrutiny. Obviously, can't even trust them with our data. Then David Marcus, the Facebook exec overseeing the crypto ventures, left the company. And this is David Marcus, and he seems like a good guy. He says, hey, congrats to my former colleagues, as well to Silvergate Bank. We gave our whole hearts, blood, sweat, and tears to what I've always called Libra. And yeah. And one thing to note about this is that we're always talking about follow developers because developers are pretty much beginning to be like gold chips out there. They are so valuable. Who has the most amount of engineers? Well, are developers. The Facebook engineers that developed this over the last couple of years are truly world-class engineers. This was Silvergate CEO Alan Lane. And again, they still couldn't make it. So imagine this, all the things that Diem, Libra, Meta, Facebook could potentially be, and they still couldn't get this off the ground. So that's why it's so important. Do your own research, so on and so forth. All right, so we have that. And then moving forward, my question was this. Well, who is Silvergate and what do they do? Well, apparently they are big in digital currency, and why they're getting this. They're working with Coinbase, Circle, Bitstamp, Trust, and Paxos. And it's not that they're going to take Diem and just rebrand it. It's all about the intellectual property and how they want to use that to create payments on a global scale. So we'll see how it works. Also, if you go to their website, you'll see this, Diem. We purchased blockchain payment network assets from Diem Group, and we're going to use that to our full potential to provide, what does it say here? One step closer to launching a next-gen global payment system that is faster, easier to use, and more cost-effective. Let's see if that works out. Because when they bought this, they paid $200 million for it. Let's see how that plays. So that's what we have in that story. And I think it's an interesting piece just about how things, as fantastic as they potentially could be, can falter under the weight of its own ambitions and the problems that they have as far as management. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Let's move on to our next piece, Solana ETP. Hey, if you're a big Solana fan, some of you are, some of you don't, this is pretty good news. So this just came out yesterday. DeFi Tech subsidiary gets nod to list Solana and ETP. ETP, ETF, not the same thing, but within the umbrella. So a subsidiary of crypto firm DeFi Tech has been given the green light by the Börse Frankfurt Zertifikat, nailed it, AG to list an exchange traded product or ETP that tracks the price of Solana's native crypto, Solana. That's pretty good. This began trading Tuesday under the German securities identification number, blah, 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 A3GUN9Y, according to press. ETP directly tracks the price of SOL by calculating the arithmetic mean price from major crypto exchanges. And my question is this like Bitcoin futures, which is worthless in my opinion? I mean, some people will dispute me, but I think futures is just gambling. And it doesn't really do much for it because it's not spot. No one's really buying it up. That's what is good to me. Like the more that people actually buy it up and hold it, the better it is for the holders. So this is the meat of it. So claiming to be fully backed at all times, Valor said it achieves this by purchasing or selling an equivalent amount of the underlying for every Valor ETP that is bought and sold on the bourse or another exchange. Great. So it sounds like they're actually buying it up physical. The product provides an investor exposure to SOL that can be bought directly from their bank or broker, and it gives us some numbers and something like that. So here's the big question to me, or when I was reading this, I'm like, why don't they just get into exchange, a crypto exchange? It seems so simple. Just do that. That's what I do. But again, that is my American brain working. It's easy just to go to a crypto exchange, just get it, right? So if you're in Germany, other countries, it's not as simple as that. There's all this different regulation, different problems. So, and then also you have to understand that there's a lot of people out there that aren't like you and me. They have no ambition to get a cold wallet and learn the whole thing with the ledger and not your keys, not your crypto. They're just like, hey, make me some money. And they need someone else to actually custody it and hold it because they don't want to deal with being scammed. And you see those scams out there, and they're all over the place. So maybe it's just best that we have these options. No, people will say, Rob, you don't understand. They've got to know everything, and they've got to do it this specific way. I'm telling you, I don't care. I just want people to come in. And if we have to get them Trojan horse style by going, hey, just get this ETP product so you understand what it is. Wow, that price really went up. It sounds pretty good. Let me learn some more about it. Wow, I can actually custody this myself. Wow, I don't need a bank. Wow, I can hold it all the way through. Wow, I don't need any kind of accounts. This is great. I can limit the middleman. That's what I'm talking about. So congratulations to Solana holders. Hopefully that'll be a price appreciation. But right now, as we can see, because we're so correlated, Solana is actually down 5%. So that's what we got. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. And let's move on to our last pieces before we get in the Q&A. And then also, I forgot to tell you, for the questions, hold them until the end. I really like to get in these questions, but just hold them because it's hard to skim all the way through. But this one, I asked a question yesterday. Yeah, it's February 1st? Yeah, February 2nd today. And this is on Twitter. And it was a weird thing because we were talking about taxes, and we're talking about India was going to legalize crypto, and that they were talking about a 30% on the transfer of crypto, which I don't know exactly what they were talking about because they're the verbiage isn't concrete of what they want to do. But I said 30% is pretty high, and then I asked the question because I read all the comments, and somebody said that Belgium has a 33% tax on profits from crypto, and France has 30%. And I was like, that seems high. Is that how much is? Because again, I'm always thinking in American terms. I'm thinking, man, 22% for capital long-term gains tax, it seems like ridiculously high. And people are like, no, Rob, we got them way, way worse over there. And it was one of those tweets that it had more comments than likes. And I was like, okay, so this must be a big thing. There's two things I learned from this. Well, there's three things. First of all, people really hate taxes. Surprise. The second thing is people like to talk about it and complain about it. And the third thing is that not everybody knows what the heck they're talking about. Also surprise. So here's some examples. This one, Kev did know. He says capital gains tax on any asset in Switzerland, let me blow this up, is 0%. 0% in Switzerland. Wealth tax is 0.05%. The only thing that's maybe a bit higher is income tax on staking mining rewards. And then Chris says U.S. is about 40% plus state taxes. That's inaccurate. I mean, if you're talking about long-term versus short-term, less than a year, you're going to be taxed at your level for your income, whatever that is. If that's 24%, 28, 33, 42, then of course state tax could be anything from 0 in Texas And then all the way up to California, like something stupid, like 9 to 11%. Yeah, good job, Cali. Way to do that. UK is 10 or 20% capital gains. Portugal, 0%. I'm like, that sounds pretty good. Netherlands tax is 1.75%. The first 50,000 is zero from 50,000 to 1 million, and then 1.35%. Netherlands is looking pretty good. And then here's one. So again, like some people say, like, where was it? UK is 10 or 20%. Looking at his rates, 10 to 20%. Dependent on income is not bad. Having said that, they're considering doubling this to 20 to 40%. And then here in Denmark, we're at least 39%. And then this one, best in Germany, it's tax-free if held for more than a year. And then, but someone said, no, in Germany, it depends on your total yearly income. And then someone says in Romania, it's 10%. And then another person down here says, no, it's 0%. Zangerli says it's 27.5 in Austria and all kinds of profits. Finland is 33%. And then someone down here says Finland's at 10%. And so it just goes all over the board for everywhere, like the one I saw it. And there's different nuances. And that's what I was trying to get to. That's the whole thing. For taxes and crypto and things like that, let's be honest. It's a pain. And not everybody knows the tax laws. Let's also be honest. And it's a real tough thing to consider. And then also, if you want to think about it, the tax man will always come and they will always find you, and we know all that stuff, right? And fortunately, because of all the different exchanges that you go through, I know people will say, Rob, you don't understand because we're just going to get rid of it and we don't have to pay anything. Look, when you sign up an exchange, they ask you for your name and your address. You probably did your ID type of thing. Not all of you, but some of you did. Maybe your social or whatever type of ID that you have. So they probably know. So in the US, I'm just going to tell you like this. Do your taxes. That's my opinion. You don't have to do them. I would definitely do them because I've already gone through the problem with the tax man. So if you're not for sure about your taxes, first of all, reach out to your tax professional in your country. If you're in the United States, what I'm doing, this thing I've been doing for 2 years straight now, is using cryptotrader.tax. There is a link in the description. Looks just like this. And I've got a how to use it video. Also, you get 20% off if you click on that link. Also, if you don't like taxes whatsoever in the US, there's this thing called a Roth IRA or a SEP IRA or a traditional IRA, whatever. Peter Thiel, that's how he turned $2,000 into $5 billion. You know how he did it? He put the PayPal shares that weren't worth squat into his Roth IRA, and he just let it sit there. He didn't contribute anything to his Roth after 1999. And what that means is he's going to get $5 billion tax-free. And the one that I use is iTrust Capital, one you always see in the upper left-hand corner for a crypto IRA. So again, remember that thing we were just talking about with this dollar cost average thing? You can keep adding in Bitcoin, but guess what? If it goes to 473,000 minus 18,000, depending on where you're at, you're paying between 20% and 43% of those gains. Do you want to do that? It's up to you. If you don't, especially in America, this is what I use because guess what? There is zero gains, capital gains on that in your IRA. And then also, I also use Masterworks just because guess what? A ton of rich people, they don't care about the economies. They just want super expensive artwork. And I invest into that as well. So there's my wealth preservation. You can use your iTrust, the Masterworks, and I also have a real estate playlist because also these real estate types of things, you can use the depreciating asset against your taxes. So all those are a link in the description. Bing, bang, boom. That's it. So yes. So two things. First of all, that was a lot of shilling. Sorry, but it is what it is. I don't shill a ton on this channel, but when I do, I shill a lot. And that was 4 in one shot, and we are done with that. So thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. That is it for the news and the shilling and all that stuff. Now let's get into a little Q&A. Thanks, guys. All right. So let me get rid of this banner. We don't need this. Great. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a little bit amped up. I had like 2 cups of coffee today. I did a workout, and I'm really excited about things that are going on today. A lot of things happening. Oh, I just wrapped up the Puerto Rico updated video. And I actually did an interview today with an Act 60 lawyer who I'm going to recommend. And it's just pretty good stuff if you're ever looking to minimize those taxes and capital gains and stuff like that. Edward says, can you tell about Hexcoin? I don't know, but apparently there's like a pulse chain or something thing going on. That's Richard Hart things. Do you ever swim in the pool? Every single day. Great question. I used to, and there are other property in Texas. It was better because like it would snow there sometimes, and it would be like super cold, and I would take dips in the pool every single day, even when it was snowing and icy and things like that, because that's what I think helps the body, pain. And with this one, it's in Puerto Rico. It really doesn't get cold at all. So I wake up around 5, walk the dogs, do the run, hit the pool and stuff like that. Peter Piper it is. That's right. What do you think about Ecomi? Is Ecomi, that's not Vive, whatever else. Ecomi, I think that's the one for NFTs that are, if that's the one that's where they do NFTs that are like mainstream type of projects, I think it's a pretty good thing. If that's the one, not for sure. Great question. Aquamar Sunzal, nailed it. Staking, DNews or DNews 2, doesn't matter. You can stake to either one. So we have a stake pool for our ADA or Cardano. It's 99.9% uptime using Microsoft Kubernetes. And we are also a part of the Sunday Swap Scoop. So try to get in there before the 4th of February, and you'll get ADA and Sunday Swap token. There's a link in the description. It goes to Dan Teaches Crypto, which is that 100% free website. It's always free. It's all my best stuff that I put over there to get the basic person or even intermediate to understand. And I did a video about how to stake Cardano, whichever wallet that you want. So yeah, let's see what else. Can you explain the title, please? So the title, Facebook. Oh, Facebook and Meta admits defeat. So EMS, Bizarre, whatever you say that. So what happened was, and I'll say this real quick, even though we can watch the replay, is that Facebook had a project called Diem, or what's called Libra, and it is dead now, and they sold it off to a bank for $200 million. So they're going to actually get away from that part, and they actually went into the COPA Alliance, which is a patent alliance, which has Kraken and MicroStrategy and Coinbase. And they're going to kind of collaborate with them. So their cryptocurrency is dead, and that's why the title is the way it is. All right, hope that helped out. So next question, Peter, I don't think iTrust is a Roth IRA. It is. It's 3 types of IRAs. It's a SEP, it's a traditional, or it's a Roth. It depends on what you want. And if you're a high network individual, you can still get into Roth IRA. It's called a backdoor IRA. So you just have to set up a time. What I did is I didn't understand anything about Roth IRAs when I was getting into this. So I just set up a time with those guys, and I talked to a real person for 30 minutes. This is like 2 years ago. So the same thing, just there's a link in the description, payment type of thing. And they don't even charge monthly fees anymore. So that's good. But yeah, I have a Roth IRA right now, have our 2 years. All right. I don't know who that is. Wow. There's a 119% staking reward for Juno on the Kepler wallet. Juno is a coin with the Cosmos ecosystem. Sounds great. I won't do it. I'd have to do a lot of research into that. This is funny. How long until ADA becomes like Bitcoin? And by that, I mean greater than 51% of the network controlled by 3 mining pools. I don't know. That changes all the time, and it's debatable. I don't want to get in it. Let's see. So this one is a good question. I need to answer this. I'm already staking with DNews. Will we just receive the Sunday in our wallet, or do we have to do something to get the Sunday? I believe you have to do something extra to get the Sunday. I don't think it's an airdrop type of thing. You need to reach out to those guys over at Sunday Swap, because we weren't a part of the very first epic. We just got to the second. And so here we are right now. Hold on one second. Let me change this. Okay. It's important to have electricity. Okay. And this is a great question. Not a fake dump. A lot of fear creeping up with Biden sending troops to Ukraine. and escalating tensions with Russia. So yeah, global fears. That's definitely. It's a weird thing because like he had talked about sending troops over there last week, and then they were in the process of going over there. And then I read an article about how the diplomatic channels were remaining open and they were speaking. And now, of course, here we are. The thing with the traditional markets you have to understand is they're not like us. They dump like crazy. You know, if there's any bad news that are going on, can you imagine how big the crypto market would be if, I don't know, the Federal Reserve started to say, you know, we're going to buy crypto to keep it afloat? It'd be huge, which is essentially what they did with the stock market. So, but now that ride's over, they're starting to taper off. That's the problem. All right. And then Jelly says Russia's already baked in. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. If it escalates to a full-on war, I think we're going to see uncertainty, and that leads to price depreciation. And hopefully, it doesn't go that route. Hopefully not. Nuno says, Rob, great info. Do you think that ADA will deliver? I sure hope so. However, I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And this is just opinion. I don't go all in on one token, because when I got in 2017, Bitcoin and Ethereum was the thing, right? But then the next thing was XRP, and people loved it. I loved XRP. I thought it was, and it made sense to me because I was like, well, it's not really super decentralized. They still have the nodes, and I don't know who's really owning those, but I thought, well, you know, for a transition from the old world to the new world, we can work with banks and we can get down the remittance fees, because I was sending money to family in Mexico. I was like, this is like super crazy high. Maybe we can do that XRP as they open things up. It'll work out pretty well. SEC came in. We know what happened. People lost a lot of money on that one, as well, if they sold. So I saw a lot of people when I got in 2017, 2018, that were just like decimated. They're like, I put all my life savings in XRP because it made sense. And there was this stupid bear that told me, and there was these riddles, and it was gonna go to the moon. It didn't happen. I'm like, well, yeah. So I never put everything into one, and who knows? It may be the big winner, may not. But I've spread out my cash as best I can. All right, one more question, and let's get out of here, huh? Yeah, no, this is a good one. Maybe we'll do two. This is Peter Piper, add Booty Brown. Why wouldn't anyone under 58 roll their 401k over into iTrust Capital if it's a Roth IRA and you can withdraw your money tax-free if it's 9.5? Well, you have to remember, for those rollovers, 401k, 403b, thrift savings plan if you're in the military, those types of things, they can all be rolled over, but you have to talk to those guys over there, and they can tell you the right way. Me personally, I see, you know, these crypto plans, these crypto IRAs, as a pretty good way just to, you know, take things out over the long haul. Imagine, like, I'm getting up there. I'm almost in 50. And let's say in like 10 years, 9.5 years, what is the price of Bitcoin going to be? Price of Ethereum, the price of Cardano, the price of Solana, the price of Near, the price of Phantom, the price of Chainlink, the price of Theta. Who knows where they could be? But in 10 years, probably pretty good. So at that point, that's a lot of crypto. Well, actually, Phantom and Near, I don't have them in Roth IRA because I don't offer that. But I think at that point, you'll be doing pretty good over the long haul, just like we said saw with the DCA example. So that's how I see things. I mean, if you want to do it in that short way, it's up to you. Let's see. Ashrov's got a great question. I'm going to leave it at this. Do you think this is going to be the major crash? It could be. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there's always a crash right around the corner. And for every 50 times there's a Chicken Little out there that says, hey, the market's crashing. For every those times, there is one time that they're correct. Let's be honest. Because just happened, there was a dot-com bubble, that crashed. There was the housing bubble in 2008, that crashed. And then, you know, as time goes on, you know, might be due for another crash. Is it going to happen? I have no idea. But I can tell you that if you look at it and you position yourself correctly, you can make a ton of gains. Like I always talked about, we had a friend in El Paso, David, and all he did was just as the market was going just more crazy for the housing, he was selling and selling. In 2009, he bought up a ton of property for like next to nothing. So if you just think to yourself, well, where's it going? I don't know if the crash is coming, but if you've, like what I do, I dollar cost average in, I take a little bit of profits along the way. So that way, if there is a crash, I'm okay. And I don't just put it into crypto and real estate and my Amazon business and the sports facility. And then also on Masterworks. I think that's one of my better plays. Masterworks is because it's fractionalized shares of art. And again, the super rich don't care. They don't care if the market goes down. They're still going to buy the Van Gogh, the Basquiat, the Banksy, and all the other art pieces I had no idea even existed until I got into Masterworks. So it's all how you see it. There's opportunities everywhere. All right. So look, we're going at 35 minutes. It's a little bit too long. I apologize. But that's what's up. So you can always follow me over at News Asset. I'm very active on Twitter, but that's it for today. So look, thanks so much for watching today. I do appreciate it. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. A lot of things to talk about are very time sensitive, like you just saw. Also, I want to put 2 videos right here that you can watch if you're watching the replay. One, I'm definitely going to be about how to stake Cardano. The other one, because we had so many questions, I'll probably just put the iTrust Roth IRA video, both of those right there. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Adios.